decimals. Everybody hear me?
No,
Abram
not.
Abram would help highly
The book, basically, this whole section just deals with you being able to change fractions to decimals and percents. So we've got fractions, we have decimals, and we have percents. And you have your little circle pie pieces that have all three on there, so you're going to be asked at times to use those. But you should have a pretty good indication right now of being able to mix those up together there. For example, if you have the fraction 1/4, you shouldn't really need to look at your little fraction manipulative things there, your little pie pieces, because you should probably know what decimal and what percents those are, simply because it really works the same as money does, like a quarter of a dollar. What decimal is a quarter of a dollar, Bryce?
0.25.
Right, 0.25. And the same thing is true about percents. You know, since this is in hundredths, which is what percents are, 0.25 is 25 hundredths, which means it is 25%. So you should know the 1/4, 3/4. You should know because it's like having 3/4 of a dollar. How much is 3/4 of a dollar, Carter? 75 cents. And what percent is 3/4? 75%. You should know 1/8. I'm sorry, 1/2. Let's do 1/2 first. Half of a dollar is 50 cents, and that is 50%. Now, some of the ones that are a little more obscure, ones that maybe you don't think about quite as often, are 1/10. If you have a tenth of a dollar, we have a little coin called a dime. What decimal is that?
0.10.
0.10, and it's 10%. And with that, you should be able to tell like 7/10, because 7/10 is just 7 times 1/10. So the decimal for 7/10 would be 70 cents, and the percent is 70%. Let's see what other ones they probably give you here. Let me see if I can shrink this now that I made it too big. Probably not. I probably missed something here. Oh, maybe.
So,
1/5. This one's not quite as obvious. How about 1/5 as a decimal? 1/5 as a decimal. Do we have 1/5 circle pieces?
yeah, we do, but I know it.
What is it there?
It's either 0.2 or 0.20.
Okay, yeah, either one of those will work. 0.20, and as a percent, it is 20%. What about 3/5 would just be 3 times bigger than 1/5. So what would that be, Jack? If 1/5 is 20, 3 of them would be
60.
0.60 and 60%. Let me see what other. And 1/8. Now those children get a little tougher. 1/8. What you've talked about. Somebody even asked me a question in class there. That might be when you get to the eighths. You probably would have to look at your circles, but maybe you know it there. Evelyn, 1/8 is a decimal.
125 thousandths.
Yeah, 0.125. And then as a percent, 1/8 is, Wade, and we usually do put it as a fraction, 12.5%. We're going to write down, we don't have to do 2/8 because 2/8 is the same as 1/4. 3/8 is 3 times this, which is 0.375, and that's 37.5%. 4/8 is the same as 1/2. 5/8 is 5 times that, which is, anybody 5/8 as a decimal? Ooh, maybe something. Evelyn?
5
0.625, which is 62.5%. And then 7/8 would be good to know is, we're taking a shot at it, Rand?
8.75.
There you go, 0.875, and it would be 87.5%. If you are a baseball player or a softball player and you gotta hit 7 out of 8 times, your batting average is 875. The batting average is we just take the decimal away and whatever, which means you get a hit 87.5% of the time. Other than that, I think that's pretty much. Oh, 1/3. I guess we should do the thirds while we got it here. Although I don't know if they're gonna ask you, maybe they do need to get it out. Anybody 1/3 as a decimal? And it's interesting, 1/3 and 2/3 are kind of goofy when it comes to decimals. Bryce, 1/3 is,
335.
well, it's actually 0.3, and it keeps on going forever and ever. You never stop with that. So we call it, we just put a line above it that says that decimal repeats forever. And then as a percent, it's 33 1/3%. And 2/3 is twice that, which means it's 0.6 repeater, and it would be 66 2/3%. So those are all kind of the common percents and stuff that you probably should just make sure you have some notes on and know that they will ask you to do. And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up and sums up